Hey, this is Jay with Sacred Gaming. In this video, I wanted to respond to a comment that I just got, and it's actually one that I get every so often. But the person said, "Hey Jay, how can you worship this big made-up fairy in the sky? I think you're an idiot." All right, so that's, besides the idiot part, that's actually a really good question. How can you worship this big made-up fairy guy in the sky? All right, and I think a lot of Christians, when they hear that or when they're challenged by that, they want to come back swinging against you. But I want to really talk about that and take a look at that, because when I look at this issue, if I were to look at it from a non-Christian's point of view, from an unbeliever's point of view, or from the outside, Christianity is pretty darn crazy looking. I mean, if I'm thinking about it, I'd be like, okay, so let me get this straight. You worship a guy that lived 2,000 years ago in some podunk town that nobody's ever heard of. And on top of that, some religious crazy people, fanatics, ended up killing this guy. Supposedly, he disappeared 3 days later, went up to heaven, and that's where he is now. You expect me to believe that? I mean, from that point of view, from that perspective, honestly, it sounds a little bit crazy. In fact, when you read Matthew's account of when the disciples followed Jesus, that sounds kind of weird, sounds kind of nuts. I mean, let me read this for you real quick. It's Matthew 4:18. It says, "As Jesus was walking beside the Sea of Galilee, he saw two brothers, Simon, called Peter, and his brother Andrew. They were casting a net into the lake, for they were fishermen. 'Come, follow me,' Jesus said, 'and I will send you out to fish for people.' At once they left their nets and followed him." Now, Matthew's the first gospel account. When you're reading this, there is no interaction between Jesus and these people. It's all of a sudden like, oh, Jesus just shows up on the scene and he says, "Hey, follow me," and these guys just leave their families, leave their jobs, and they follow him. If I'm looking at that from the outside, I'm thinking, man, these guys were seriously irresponsible. They were kind of crazy to follow Jesus, and it doesn't make sense. And I think a lot of times that's what Christians expect of non-Christians today. We just expect that we're going to tell you about this Jesus guy and that you just need to take this blind leap of faith and follow him. But I want to tell you, that's not the case. And I want to give you a different perspective on this scene. And if you go to Luke chapter 5, and I want to even talk about what's happening before this, right? Before this scene, Jesus is actually in the area. He's preaching around town. Words got out about him, and people are starting to hear about this Jesus. Not only has he done that, but he's also doing and performing all these miracles. He's healing people and doing other things. So people are hearing about this. And then we come to this scene, all right? And it says in Luke chapter 5, verse 1, "One day, as Jesus was preaching on the shore of the Sea of Galilee, great crowds pressed in on him to listen to the word of God. He noticed two empty boats at the water's edge, for the fishermen had left them and were washing their nets. Stepping into one of the boats, Jesus asked Simon, its owner, to push it out into the water. So he sat in the boat and taught the crowds from there. When he had finished speaking, he said to Simon, 'Now go out to where it is deeper and let down your nets to catch some fish.' 'Master,' Simon replied, 'we worked hard all night and didn't catch a thing, but if you say so, I'll let the nets down again.' At this time, their nets were so full of fish they began to tear. A shout for help brought their partners in the other boat, and soon both boats were filled with fish and on the verge of sinking. When Simon Peter realized what had happened, he fell to his knees before Jesus and said, 'O Lord, please leave me. I am such a sinful man.' For he was awestruck by the number of fish they had caught, as were the others with him. His partners James and John, the sons of Zebedee, were also amazed. Jesus replied to Simon, 'Don't be afraid. From now on, you'll be fishing for people.' And as soon as they landed, they left everything and followed Jesus." Now, what I want you to notice here is what I was talking about earlier. It wasn't just that these four guys just ended up blindly following him. No, there was more to it, and Luke gives us a good eye into that. See, these four guys had a chance to explore who Jesus was. They had a chance to hear him out, to listen to him, kind of evaluate what he was saying, and then they actually experienced the power of God, and it literally brought Peter to his knees. And I tell you what, if somebody asked me, why do you follow Jesus, or why are you a Christian? I'm going to tell you the same thing. I was at church, and all of a sudden I experienced the power of God, and it brought me to my knees, and it radically changed my life. I mean, that's why these guys followed him. That's why I follow him. I experienced the power of God. If you ask a lot of other Christians, they're going to tell you that they had the same experience where it brought them to their knees and radically changed their lives. So, a lot of people, a lot of non-Christians, they want proof. You want to know, why should I follow this Jesus? And I want to challenge you with this. Jesus wants you to explore who he was. And in doing so, I guarantee that you're going to experience the power of God, and you're going to get the proof that you're looking for. So I want to challenge you. Maybe this means, going to church to explore who Jesus was. Maybe it means just reading the Bible. If you want to do that, I want to encourage you to read the Gospel of Luke. I like the other ones. Matthew, though, was a Jew writing to Jewish people, so he took things for granted and didn't always explain things, as we saw in these two accounts. But Luke wasn't a Jew, and he wasn't writing to Jews, so it was like he was writing to everybody else, and he explains things a little bit better, and he puts things out there. So I want to encourage you to explore who this Jesus was, because I guarantee once you experience the power of God, it's going to radically change your life like it did me. So can I challenge you with that? Jesus doesn't just expect you to blindly follow him. In fact, in the Gospel of John, there's this point where Jesus says to these other disciples, hey, come see for yourself. Can I challenge you with that? Come see for yourself if this Jesus is who he claimed to be. But hey, this is where I'm going to end this video. Let me put this out there too. If you do not have the ability, cannot afford to buy yourself your own Bible and can't get online maybe and get it, feel free to message me. I would love to send you a nice study Bible. I'll do it free of charge, pay for the shipping and everything. That would just make my day. But guys, hope you have an awesome day today. As always though, take care and God bless.
Ready to assault.
HCXD deployed. Friendly UAV inbound. Friendly care package incoming.